One of my cardinal rules here at the channel is to avoid telling people what to do with their money. I think it's kind of weird, but unfortunately I broke that rule a couple days ago during one of my live streams, twitch.tv/okJLUV, where I was asked a question, or actually no one even asked. I just said, if somebody asked me what is a surefire way to make money on Pokemon cards in the next 2 years, what should they buy? I suggested the Umbreon VMAX CSR from VMAX Climax because it's priced about 3,500 yen. And if you draw a parallel to another card from GX Tag Team All-Stars, the Umbreon and Darkrai GX Special Art, that card's about 55,000 yen right now, which is like what, 450 US dollars? So my reasoning was this is pretty much the equivalent new version of that in 2 or 3 years. I don't see why this card won't do the same thing that that one did. Lo and behold, after talking about that during the stream, VMAX Climax cards are now rapidly pumping. I know this isn't a huge pump, but it is starting to happen. This is a buy list from Dragon Star. This is a physical store. They've got an online store as well. Ships domestically, doesn't ship internationally, don't even bother asking. But basically, this is their list of prices that they will buy cards from collectors for, and then they will then go on to sell them for, let's say, what, like another 10-15% more. And you can see there, the Umbreon VMAX that I was literally just talking about, what, 4 or 5 days ago, they're now buying it for 5,000 yen. Same with the Sylveon, Pikachu, Mimikyu. All these cards are starting to now pump up. If you go and look at one of the more popular websites that does ship internationally, you also use a parcel forwarding service, you can use this one too. You can no longer buy cards like the Umbreon VMAX. In fact, the Mimikyu there has actually probably gone up more. It's 9,000 yen. Gloria, which is a pretty playable card, but it's drawn by Naoki Saito and it's a girl, so super popular. 40,000 yen. You know, I remember when that was 15,000 yen, if it probably a little bit less for a very long time. So VMAX Climax is pumping. I don't think it's normal, but it's happening. And if you go and look at the sold out, yeah, there's the Umbreon VMAX. Wait, where is it? I swear I can. There it is. Yeah, so 5,500 was the last price you could buy it. Now it's gone. You're just waiting for it to restock. So I guess I was right, or I inadvertently pumped it. It wasn't my plan. I'm not sitting on a whole bunch of Umbreon VMAX CSR. If I was, I wouldn't be making these videos. Actually, no way. I probably would, because then I'd be pumping them and then I'd sell them in like 2 months and make a lot of money. Anyway, if you want to see the full unfiltered discussion from that stream, you can go and check it out at the okJLUV VODs channel. Link is in the description below, but be warned, there is a lot of swearing and I do make fun of a lot of people during that particular live stream. So don't hate me for that. Anyway, this is the Twitter page for Magi. This is one of the bigger card stores in Japan, but of note for Magi is that they have a very big Twitter presence and they use that to their advantage almost daily. This is the kind of posts that they will make. These are all from yesterday. Today's October the 18th. These are from the 17th. And basically they will post and say, hey, we're buying these cards now for this price. And that's it. That's how it's going to be. The Rayquaza VMAX Special Art from Blue Sky Stream. Really hard card to get. And that set didn't reprint. 200,000 yen is their buying price. Why? Because they said so. That's why. For a PSA 10, they will buy it off you for 250,000 yen. If you don't know what that is converted, it is a lot. It's a lot of money. For a barely 1-year-old card, it's 1,300 US dollar dues. That is, I mean, I don't know why I'm acting surprised anymore. Nothing surprises me, but it still does when I see these posts. Also, the USD is dipping. If we go on to some more, you can see Solgaleo and Lunala GX Special Art. This one's from Dream League, and this was a super cheap card for a very long time. Also, I'm going to just say that these were cheap, and I'm going to say what they were for a long time based off the top of my head, because I just sadly know all these prices. They're just drilled into the back of my eyelids. I wish they weren't, but they are. 27,000 yen is how much they're buying for. Also, if you don't believe me and you want to call me out, that's fine. I will go and dig out the receipts. I'm just not doing it for this entire video. Trust me, bro. And if you go and look at some videos from last year, you'll see where we're actually talking about these during streams. And you can go and look at them yourself and you can see how cheap they were. But I'm not trying, sorry if I'm calling you out. If this is an attack, it's not. I just sound naturally aggressive. Beautiful card, by the way. But yeah, 27,000 yen now. So hold on to that if you've got it. Same here. This is the Reshiram and Zekrom with N on the front. Again, this is 20,000 yen now. It's a little bit cheaper if you haven't got it in mint condition, but it's insane because these were very cheap for a long period. And this is an old set. It was only in the last month or so that you started to see Dream League and basically everything, because like basically everything is going up. Acerola, this is Acerola's Premonition. This is a pretty new card from VMAX Climax. This was the cheapest of the, people get upset when I say this, waifu cards. It's just a general blanket term for Japanese girl characters. It doesn't mean anything more than that. 25,000 yen. This was the cheapest waifu card from VMAX Climax, or one of them. I think you could get this for like 7,000 yen. If you bought it at that price, you basically tripled, quadrupled your money just in the last month. So congratulations, you're rich. Marnie from Shield. This is one of the most sought after Sword and Shield full art trainer cards. Super playable, but a very popular character, and that's the main reason why it's surged. And it has gone on a trajectory over the last 2 months from, I'd say, 50,000 yen, and now climbs to 210,000 yen. So again, 1,500 USD you're looking at there. If you don't have this card, it's basically long gone. If you do have it, congratulations. I don't hate you at all. The Sylveon and Gardevoir special art, probably one of the more underrated GX special arts from Sun and Moon. Now it's 42,800 yen. So if you didn't get it, it's GG. Dream League, we were just talking about this. So the sealed boxes are 40,000 yen. Again, if you've sat on any of these, that's a, what is that? 40 divided by 5. That's an 8 times. So if you're trying to make money from Pokemon cards, I'd say buying Dream League back then was probably a good bet, because now sealed 40,000 yen. It's a great set. It's probably one of my favorite Sun and Moon sets, but yeah, it's weird. We kind of always knew this was going to happen. So why I'm like, why am I acting surprised? But oh my God, to see it is surprising. This keeps surprising me. This is the Licia card from Charisma of the Cracked Sky. It's incredible how this has just gone from $1,000. I think it was like 100,000 yen around the middle of August or end of August. I remember I was doing a recast of the World stream, looking at this during one of the breaks, and I was so shocked that it was 100,000 yen. Holy shit, it's worth so much money now. That's A minus.
So like what?
It's 140,000 yen.
It's an A minus.
It's a two. It's a $180,000. The best thing about like Pog pools like that is that you can just relive them by thinking about them. Every time they go up in value, you can just be like, yes. August was 2 months ago. So in a month and a half, this is what, 3,000 US dollars? Something converted like 3,200 US dollars? Like what? This is is it vintage now? Like, or is it still modern? I'd say this is moving into vintage modern. It's not like super old, 20 years old, but you can't get it anymore. They're not going to print Charisma of the Cracked Sky again. So I found this and I love it. But I'm at the point now where, although I really like the card, I love the artist and I love the character design, and I was very happy to pull it. I have to make a decision now. Do I need to sell this card now? Because it's ridiculous to hold on to it. Another perfect example of that is the Sightseer. Now, Sightseer around release, I know was like a $20 card. Like people share their eBay purchases of this, and it hurts when you see it and you don't have the card. It hurts. I bought mine for like 250 Australian dollars. So it is what it is. But now it's 200,000 yen. It is probably the most valuable card from GX Tag Team All-Stars. Poker have actually found it a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, moving on to another regular GX, the Water Energy. Oh my God, and out of nowhere in the reverse slot, the full art trainer.
What a full art it is. Okay, here's another one. The Alola Friends. Now this is a little bit different. I'd argue this should actually be worth more because it was from a very limited product that was made to order, but is almost impossible to find like the sealed box for a reasonable price. I think the sealed box that this comes from, there are 2 promos in it, this and the Pikachu by Corki Saito. That's like a 5,000 USD box. Now this is a number I'm just pulling out of thin air, so if I'm wrong, correct me. I'd say given how difficult it is to find that box sealed and get these in good condition, 280,000 yen seems a little bit undervalued. That's just me. But it is surging again. It's going up. It was low for a long period. Marnie from Shiny Star V again. This has actually gone up and then down. This has fluctuated drastically. At launch, it was relatively cheap, and then it got really popular and expensive after Shiny Star V went out of print. Then it came back down again just recently, and it's going back up. I don't think it's going to go down again, basically. It's going to go up and up and up from here. I'm not pumping it. I do have a few of them. I did think this was going to be one of the more popular cards from the Sword Shield block. If you banked on it the same way I did, you'll be laughing. By the way, I did do a long discussion video that is coming during this week. It's about an hour and a half though. It's a kind of podcast-esque video I did together with somebody else. And we spoke about the history, I guess, or the prices and the way that they've changed over the last 4 years to try and give you guys a little bit of perspective. This is more of a, this is where things are at. I like to bookmark the prices of stuff and make these videos so we can say, hey, draw a line in the sand. This is how much it was back then. That video is more of a discussion generally about why. We're kind of speculating on what the heck is going on. The stained glass birds. This was always super underrated, and I'm glad I finally got this. I got this via trade. Thank goodness. It's now a 50,000 yen card. So this is from a set that was not that popular, Sky Legends, but it was the only really good card from the Sky Legends. So you can probably still find like boxes of Sky Legends for decent prices around eBay. If you're interested, I mean, it's not a bad idea to try and buy a box of this and see if you can pull it yourself. The Giratina, this is stupid. I'm just gonna say this is just frankly silly. This card is only like what, 2 or 3 months old. and already their buy price is 65,000 yen. I think this is just dumb. Like, this just doesn't make any sense. This Lost Abyss, the Japanese set, not Lost Origin, is still getting printed. Like, you can still buy it every few weeks. It just gets another print supply comes out. It's difficult to buy unless you're in Japan, but it is out there. So it doesn't make sense for a card this new to have gone from, I think its lowest point was 25,000 yen. I know one person who bought it for that much. It doesn't make sense for it to now be 65,000 yen, just what, 3 months out from release. So I think this one will actually come back down and then go back up again like they all seem to be doing, but time will tell. This is too new of a card to be this expensive this early on. Then you've got the Charizard GX, and I do think all Ultra Shiny GX cards have just been criminally undervalued for a very long time. Considering that box is like, what, 600, 700 USD if you were going to try and buy one, and then pull this yourself, and there are a lot of different Shinies, and it is only one SSR or GX SV card that you can pull from the set. You know, what are the chances that you find the Charizard? I don't know. I think that's undervalued. I think this is overvalued. This is overvalued and it should dump, and it will dump. I'm coping because I don't have this one, and I've been trying to get all the special arts from the Sword Shield block. The VMAXs especially are really expensive, and if you didn't get them at the time and you didn't pull them, it's almost like there's no hope, and this is one of those cards, the Mew VMAX. It was undervalued for too long, considering how playable and how like huge of a deck Mew VMAX is, and how popular bling decks are in Japan. It didn't make sense for this to be as cheap as it was for such a long period. I think at its lowest, it was like 15,000 yen, which is very cheap. Umbreon V, we don't need to really talk about Eevee Heroes anymore. We could talk about it till the cows come home. 27,800 yen for just the V special art. If we go and have a look at the Umbreon VMAX, let's do that actually. Well. When the reprint dropped, a whole bunch of people said that this was going to drop in price and that I was wrong. And lo and behold, it is now more expensive than it ever has been. So the moral of the story is I'm right and you're wrong. That was rude, but you guys got to let me dunk on you sometimes. Anyway, this is a tweet that Muggy put up yesterday, and I have put the auto translate there for you guys. It is essentially what it says. I will just break it down a little bit and clarify a few things. So they're saying that they're going to start wholesale sales at their store. And I'm assuming, and my understanding of this is that it's not for boxes. It's actually going to be for single cards. There is a secondhand articles dealer act in Japan that they need to abide by, but essentially they will perform wholesale sales for sales that are 2 million yen or more. So this is for people that are going to come in and probably want to do like a big purchase order of a whole bunch of different singles, not just boxes, or maybe boxes as well as singles. And I'm assuming that if you do that, you're going to be able to negotiate a cheaper price overall, which I think is really interesting, because the reason why I wanted to go over Magi's tweets in particular and their buy list is a lot of time it just feels like they're just saying this is what the card's worth, so this is what it's worth. And then all other card stores seem to follow suit. And because the way the market is and the way collectors are at the moment in Japan, they kind of just accept it and then roll with it, and then it becomes the new normal. It's really hard to confirm whether any of these sales go through and whether Japanese collectors are buying them. But if you do keep your eye on Twitter, you will see people pick cards up over time and show their dubs basically, and show where they have made money or where they've committed to a big purchase and they're happy about it. So I do think a lot of these sales are going through, but I do think it's also odd that now they're going to be offering wholesale sales and they're going to be giving people discounts. What does that mean? Does that mean someone can go in and drop over 2 million yen, which is a lot of money, and then buy them at a cheaper price and then list them individually on like Mercari or eBay Japan and then send them out around the world for more because they have a lot of them? If you have a lot of money, if you're a massive investor and maybe you're an eBay seller that has a lot of money and makes a lot of money from sales, you could potentially go and buy, $200,000 worth of cards and maybe negotiate a 10 to 15% discount. And then as the cards go up in price, as Magi continues to pump them, which they kind of are pumping them, you can just continue to make money. It's almost like this is a potentially viable business decision. Although I will say it's extremely fragile and super volatile, because at any point in time, Pokemon cards could become worthless and then your big investment is worth nothing. Case in point, for card stores that just chose violence recently, Dragon Star Kyoto, who a couple days ago said, you know what? The Latios and Latias GX Special Art from Tag Bolt, it's 100,000 yen now. Why? Because we said so. That's why. This one's frankly silly. And it got a little bit of traction, 300 likes, 168 quote retweets. And when we go and look at them, they're all going to be in Japanese. A lot of that is just shock. This one I actually quite liked. Anybody who's got this card is on their way to Dragon Star right now. And yes, I vibe with that. If I was in Japan, I'd be on my way to Dragon Star right now too. There's a lot of like just a lot of shock. Because people are confused, because this just happened suddenly. It was very abrupt. It all of a sudden just became 100,000 yen. And it's probably the most obvious case of a card that is just being pumped. I think it's being pumped. You know, I can't buy it anymore. You know, this is pretty upsetting. This one I liked a lot. This person said, wasn't this just 30,000 yen before? And yes, you are right, my friend. It was just 30,000 yen before. This didn't have a gradual climb. This had a massive spike and it just became this much because Dragon Star said so. This is weird and not normal. I don't like it, but it is how it is. Japanese Pokemon cards are becoming a massive luxury. If you're a collector and you're already in, you're probably okay. But if not, you're out. Like, you can't get in. It's no longer approachable. The last one I wanted to speak about today, this is the 25th anniversary promo cards. They had a reprint. It got released at the start of September, but now, because they're not getting reprinted again, although there was a little rumor floating about this morning that the Golden Box is going to get another print, which I don't believe, but we'll see what happens. That does have 4 promo packs in it, so you can buy that and get another shot at these. But these are really expensive now. You know, 32,000 yen for the Charizard is kind of ridiculous, and the massive gap between that and the Venusaur and Blastoise, which are just, they're in the same conversation, is odd. The Umbreon, the Gold Star Umbreon, is now 16,000 yen. And that was a 3,000 yen card for a long time. I can safely say I bought a few of these, so I'm pretty happy about that. But I bought a few knowing that it was dummy cheap. Like, it just had no business being that cheap. These were controlled. I think these were manipulated, especially the Charizard. Stock levels for these were controlled. And the one thing you got to remember is that the reprint promo packs that are out there that came out September were made to order. So those promo reprint packs actually met demand because they were only printed to meet the orders that went through. They made as many orders as there were demand. So technically they have met demand. There can't be a supply issue. Do you understand what I'm saying here? It's simple. It's supply and demand. You can see even on Mercari, this isn't just limited to card stores, on the free market as well. Just the PSA 10 versions are gone upwards of what, 50,000 yen, which is just bonkers. And look, I found this cool graph. I thought this was actually quite interesting. There's a poker card chart in Japanese where you can look at Japanese card prices. I didn't jump too deeply into this, but I will later. That's actually quite interesting. I'm guessing it tracks sales from Mercari. So that's quite interactive. Look at this. You can see volume. I need to dig into this to see a little bit more about what it means. Magi, I don't know, man. You've been seeming sus lately. It's almost like we have an imposter among us. I saw that you don't lie to me, Magi. You sassy baka.